They hear him. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
Always, it's crazy. I said this in the last time. Every single time I do an interview, it's always in the car. Always.
That's
Hey, you
smart.
get the best sound and the best lighting in the car, oddly enough.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good.
I'm glad you decided to spend some time with us. I know you're a busy man.
Appreciate it. No, thank you guys for the interview.
No problem. This is my partner, by the way. I didn't introduce him. Leo Antel. This is Jamaine Ortiz, up and coming prospect, undefeated. And I figured let's just dive right into it now.
Yeah.
My man, Jamaine Ortiz. We got him at 15, 0-1, I believe is the current record, 8 knockouts.
Yeah.
And what my friend Leo and I like to do is we like to make sure everyone gets the full story, without taking too much of your time. I know that you are of Puerto Rican and Dominican descent, based out of Massachusetts there. Mr. Ortiz, would you care to let us know when you started boxing and when this journey for boxing started for you?
I started boxing like around the age of 7 years old, at the Boys and Girls Club, the local Boys and Girls Club for my city. That's how kind of things went on, a few exhibitions. Started competing like around 8.5 years old. And that's how it started, tournaments after tournaments, and just slowly rise until you get older and decide that you want to take it serious when you find that this is more of a gift, a talent, and a blessing that you have at hand, and that you could go far with it. And that's what I decided to do.
Nice. So you started at a young age. The trainer you have, is it the same one that you've had the whole time, or have you switched trainers during this time?
My original trainer from when I started has been with me to like probably like my 10th pro fight. And then, he started getting older. So I have another coach that I've been working with since the amateurs, who was my head coach's assistant at the time. And he actually trained him when he was a young fighter. So, same house. So my head coach now is Rocky Gonzalez, but same house.
Awesome. Keeping the lineage going. Sorry, just something
I saw in a video that you said if I wasn't winning, I wouldn't continue. And you kind of told your story briefly. I kind of wanted to hear your take on that and like elaborate on it. What was it about the amateurs that you thought, if I'm not winning, I'm not going to continue? Was it more that you just have a straight winning mentality, or is it more that, I don't know, like what was going through your mind when you said that?
I would say, if I wasn't making it to national tournaments over and over again and, dominating my region, then I would be asking myself, what real talent is there for me to drop everything? Because as boxing, it's a sacrifice of leaving everything behind, in the sense of another career you could be doing, if it's education, a good job career, hanging out with family or friends, and, that potential of living a normal life gets cut when you're chasing a career in boxing. And that's what I would have said, is it worth it chasing something that doesn't have such odds of achieving if I'm not winning now?
Yeah, I completely agree. When I was in the amateurs, I also kind of had a similar mentality where, if you're, I think we lost you.
Oh,
sorry. Okay, put my thing on, do not disturb. People calling me.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, no, I find that mindset fascinating, where if you're not, the very best you can be, and also the very best in the game, you can't continue. And you were saying that, without boxing, you probably wouldn't be alive, and, you'd probably be dead. I think it was quite interesting, because you said that you might not be dead, but you'd not know your direction without boxing. So what did you mean by that as well? It was quite vague, the whole thing, and it piqued my curiosity about you.
I don't think I would have said I would have been dead. I don't remember, but without boxing, I definitely don't feel like I would have had a sense of purpose, because my purpose and me getting to know myself had a lot to do with my mentor, my boxing coach at the time, Carlos Garcia, which played a father figure and a real good mentor and just a role model for me on how to live my life outside of boxing. And those qualities of me being able to be with him and spend so much time with him gave me a sense of who I am outside of boxing, who I can be as a human being and as a man of character and integrity outside of the sport. So if I didn't have him as a role model, my role models would have been the people in the street. And then, I wouldn't have that sense of purpose. I wouldn't be the same person I am today if it wasn't for boxing and having my head coach who was that role model.
Okay, that makes sense. And I just wanted to know more about, because you've got that winning mentality, and I can tell when someone really thinks they're going to go all the way. And you seem like one of these people. You want to, in 2022, challenge for a world title. In the amateurs, what was the point where you knew I'm going to make it to the top? Or not obviously you can't remember the exact moment, but when did you really know I'm going to go all the way?
To be honest, as an amateur, I never thought about the pros. My eyes were always on the gold medal at the Olympics. That was my dream. And I never had much of clue of how the pro game works, of being multi-division world champions and WBC. My mind wasn't onto that. I had boxers that I admired, that I looked up to, in the sense that I used to imitate, but I never seen myself as that. And then after the Olympic trials, that's when, I had people trying to talk to me in and turning professional. And then one thing led to another. I made my pro debut, and here we are today.
Sure. I mean, it's a great story, and you were a great amateur, very decorated amateur, right?
Definitely. I wanted to ask about that specifically in the amateurs. I see you've got quite a name of guys that you fought, some big names, some small names, Abraham Nava, Teofimo Lopez, Richardson Hitchens, and I can go on for days with this one. How many amateur fights did you have?
I had 114, 100 wins,
Wow.
14 losses.
Nice. And I see you won some Northeastern Golden Gloves over there. And did you win some national titles too?
No national titles, but basically every national tournament I went to went all the way to like the finals or the semifinals.
Nice.
Yeah.
What would you say was the most important things that you learned as far as what you could take into the pro game from the amateurs?
It's a good question. What did I take from the amateurs? So, the experience. I think the experience plays a big role when it comes to fighting a lot of different styles. And in the amateurs, you're usually fighting the top of the top, the best of the best, back to back to back, which keeps your game tight, which keeps your game good. And transfer overs, I believe, a little bit to the professional ranks when you have that experience and seeing all these good styles or these good fighters who are just as smart as you, and not just, as the pros, some people might not fight the same caliber as them. You might be a B and they're fighting a D, and it's never like an even matchup. When the amateurs, sometimes I feel like there's more of an even matchup.
Nice. Very well stated. Very well stated. I noticed when you mentioned styles, let's talk about your style, my friend. I noticed you switched from orthodox to southpaw, which in and of itself is a gift. Have you always been a switch hitter like that, or was that something you learned over time?
No, since I was little, you could look at my fights when I was like 10, 11 years old. I've been switch hitting. I throw footballs with my left hand. I play basketball with my left hand. I write with my right hand. So since a little kid, I just been ambidextrous with both hands.
Nice. There you go. Who were your biggest influences stylistically on your approach to fighting? Because I see all kind of different cool techniques. You got great combinations. You're real agile with the footwork. You switch hit. So I'm seeing all kind of different influences. Who were your biggest influences?
As a kid, definitely like Roy Jones, Mike Tyson, a little bit of Mayweather. And then as I got older and switched with my other head coach, we kind of did the more European style of boxing. And I started looking at a lot of Lomachenko's footwork and style. So, but growing up, I would say the top three were Mike Tyson, Roy Jones, and Mayweather.
Nice. I can see those influences. You got that slick movement that can frustrate a lot of people. And I definitely say some of the best combination throwing in the division easily. And the first time I got exposed to you, now I can't speak for Leo here, but the first time I saw you was on the Roy Jones Jr. Mike Tyson undercard, and you fought Suleiman Sagawa, pretty much routed him, and you styled on him, orthodox southpaw on him. I noticed before that you were doing regional shows out there in Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Then you hop onto that big Triller card with Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. What brought that about, and what was that like going from the regional shows to this huge pay-per-view million sale event?
To me, it was cool. Especially the fact that I said, people who I looked up to was Roy Jones and Mike Tyson, and I'm fighting on their undercard, opening their pay-per-view.
Wow.
But I just knew where I was always gonna go. I knew I was meant to be on TV. I knew I had a entertaining fighting style that the fans like to watch, even if it might not be knockouts all the time. And I didn't take it like nothing. I'm just on to the next, on to the next, on to the next, on to the next, until I get to where I have to get to.
Nice.
For a lightweight, you have a very good knockout ratio, though. Not that lightweights don't carry knockout power, but, the majority of lightweights aren't necessarily getting their opponents out in the majority of their fights. There are a lot of 12 rounders. So I would say 8 out of 15 is very good.
Yeah.
Very impressive. I just wanted to almost go back to the amateurs. And I wanted to learn more about the process on your end, about the switch, the transition from amateurs to pro. Was that a difficult transition? Because you were fighting the best of the best. And then I feel like a lot of boxers get exposed to the fact that pro boxing is a completely different game. And you were with your coach from the beginning, and you took him into the pros, right?
Yes.
Would you say it was a hard process, relatively smooth? How was it for you?
I would say for me, it was a hard process. It was a hard transition in the sense when you're on the local shows on trying to sell yourself as a selling tickets and coming up and not having the biggest management or promoter behind you on that aspect. And then stylistically, it's more as the professionals, it depends how one wants to take it. I was able to still be successful with it, but a lot of people used to say I still had like an amateur style, a lot of flurry of bunches of punches, flurries. So it was a transition, and I think that helped more as I got to fight more rounds. When I started fighting the 8 rounds, the 10 rounds, that helped me settle down just a little bit more than I was because, my work ethic and my intensity, my volume is very high output. So I'm so used to that. And then to kind of slow it down, just to set things up a little bit more, definitely took some time to learn, because if I'm able to beat people up doing the same thing over and over and over again, why switch it up? But I found that I had to, even if I was still winning, to still adapt and still switch it up just a little bit, because with the no headgear, even though I fought with no headgear in the amateurs, it's a little bit different. The gloves, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you've got 3 threes, heavier gloves, also more padding. It's almost completely different, really. So yeah, I mean, when you got entered the pros, were there any goals in mind? Because it sounds like you were a very motivated amateur and you had your goals. You wanted to fight the best. Coming into the pros, what were your goals?
World champion. Still it is to this day. World champion.
And you're close to
multi-weight
that.
division, world champion, pound for pound. And that's why, since early in my career, I was never afraid to fight undefeated fighters, top fighters, whatever it is. I just want to prove myself to the world of knowing what I can do.
And you're a free agent, right? Or no?
No. I just got a 3-fight deal with Top Rank.
Okay. Because I saw that you fought on Showbox.
Yeah.
What actually was that?
And that's fair.
Because I actually have. I'm obviously from England, and I hadn't heard much about Showbox myself.
Yeah.
Did you like
Showbox here is like a channel off of Showtime. Have you heard of Showtime?
Yeah, of course.
So it's like a subsidiary of Showtime where they usually put top prospects up against each other, usually another undefeated against another undefeated or just somebody with one loss, but top upcoming prospects, and they haven't battled it out.
And did you see the other day, I don't know if you know the promotional company Boxer and Sky Sports? They had a lightweight tournament where they had three 3-minute rounds. So like the amateurs, but pro gloves, but you fight 3 times in one night. And it was a tournament. It was like a mini tournament. I just wanted to know what you thought about that format and that style of promoting fighters. What's your thoughts on that?
What is it? Was it amateur? Or was it professional?
It was professional. That was what was interesting because
professional.
Yeah.
So the fighters will fight 3 times in the same night.
Yes. A guy called Dylan Chima won it against Ryland Charlton in the finals.
3 minutes, 3 rounds, fighting 3 times in the same night. That's
same
pretty
night.
tough.
It's
cool.
tough, right?
That's
they were slugging out towards
That's
the
tough.
end. Would you do that?
I would do it. I like fighting. I love fighting, so I would definitely do it. But it's definitely tough. Anything that challenges the mind and the body. But I know from the amateurs, even though them 3 minutes, 3 rounds, it takes a toll too, because the volume is a lot usually higher because you only have 3 rounds, which is an odd number. Where professional rounds, they're even numbers. You know what I mean? Exactly. So you have to win 2 out of the 3. Where in professional, it can still be a draw. In amateurs, you don't have draws, and especially having odd numbers unless somebody gets dropped. But even at that, I doubt they never have a draw in the amateurs. So
no,
that's definitely tough. There's definitely wear and tear and to recover and to fight again. Were they doing it back to back, or they had breaks in between? How did that work?
Yeah, so they had breaks in between. I don't know the exact logistics of it because I sort of switched it on towards the end, nearer to the final. But I believe that, I think there were 8 to 12 boxers, something like that. And yeah, everyone would fight in between each other. So if there are 2 people fighting, you're kind of getting a break type thing. I don't know what the separation was, but yeah, it was extremely entertaining. And I feel in America, especially, they would love it. It's very interesting.
Yeah, no, I think that is entertaining. You could take it though, because it's like at the end of the day, it's 9 rounds in total. Professionals, they do that. You could do 9 rounds. So
yeah, and they could do something where it doesn't necessarily count towards your official record. I don't know. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Not you personally, obviously, but maybe it would make more boxers want to do it, because I feel like nowadays a lot of boxers are trying to protect their zero, and whereas say in MMA, it's not really a big deal. Just there's a mutual respect if the top guys are fighting the top guys like in the amateurs. But I want to ask about your 3-fight deal. Do you have a sense of direction with that deal? Is there a plan that Top Rank have given you in terms of like world titles or eliminators, anything like that?
Nothing like that I'm aware of that we spoke about, but I do have a fight coming up. I haven't even announced it or anything like that, just because we just basically closed on the paperwork this week. We're still finishing it up. But my next fight should be in about 4 weeks, May 21st, against Jamel Herring.
Oh wow. That's an exclusive.
Oh wow! So you guys just got the first scoop on that.
Wow,
man, my eyes got wide on that. But
fight.
Jamel Herring. Okay, so we got Jamel Herring, May 21st, the opening scoop. My man Jamaine Ortiz. You heard it official here first. Awesome. Awesome. Where is this fight going to be at? Could you give us that detail?
Las Vegas.
Oh wow. Man, big time. There you go. Fight. Oh man, that's an amazing fight.
Did you watch his fight with Shakur Stevenson?
I did.
And what were your thoughts? What were your initial thoughts?
I felt like, they probably been in the gym together before, they sparred together before, and Shakur probably got the best out of it when he was younger. And as he probably mentioned, he's like, he knows what I did to him, and he's a lot better now. So I just think it kind of got to his head a little bit and didn't allow him to perform to his best 100%, just because probably a little bit of intimidation. But Shakur's a great fighter. I seen him; he was gonna win regardless. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and what about his? So you probably watched his fight with Carl Frampton as well. Did you think that was a case of the ability of Jamel Herring, his boxing IQ and power because he took him out, or was it more of a case of Carl Frampton being slightly over the hill? What was your take?
Seeing Carl Frampton coming in a lot, like not protecting himself too much, and in boxing, any shot can put you down. Doesn't matter if you're a big puncher or a small puncher. Usually, if it's a good shot, landed at the right time, it could put you down. But I'll say a combination of both because Jamel Herring is getting older too, but it could be a combination of both. I feel like, I think Carl Frampton's been in a war too, and when you put yourself through those wars a little bit too often, it could put some wear and tear on your body.
Definitely. And he'll be moving up to fight you then, one weight category. Yeah. So where does that fight, so provided you win that fight, where do you think that puts you in the lightweight world picture?
I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to let the fans decide, right? Because the fans, at the end of the day, I think they're the ones that talk about the fights, demand the fights, and kind of rank these fighters some way, somehow, in the sense of how they like them. But depending on my performance, how I look, and how impressive it is, I hope I'm in the talks with the top contenders to get one of them title fights within the year.
Well, I got faith it'll be a good performance. I haven't seen you in any bad performances so far. In every fight I see you in, it's must see TV. You've got a very eye pleasing style, a fan friendly style. And I noticed that you've got the gas on the pedal for pretty much the entirety of the fights. Do you do anything special for your cardio? Do you run a lot, or how do you just maintain that kind of engine through the course of 10 rounds like that?
I keep my intensity high with all my training. I say if I could only do one round, I tell the other guys in the gym, if you can only do one round all out, then just do one round and the next day come and do two. But don't give me 5 rounds, playing around on the bag. So nice. That's kind of my philosophy on how I go about it. Go hard all the way, and just this is do or die. It's a battle, so you have to prepare yourself just like one.
You're doing a great job so far. I see you with no limitations in your tank in these fights. You're from the beginning to the end. You're throwing heat combinations. You're moving about real well, and that definitely is no easy feat on the cardio. And I think it'll be an entertaining fight. I wanted to just go back real quick to speaking of entertaining fights. Your fight with Joseph Adorno. That was the result in that one was a draw. That was on the Pitufo Diaz Navarrete card. That was a huge card. I think it was like a sold out event. You had Berlanga on the card, and then you fought Joseph Adorno in a very tough fight. What was that like in that fight with Joseph Adorno once it started to get really heavy? I noticed in the second round, the thing happened with the nose, and it was kind of a push down, knockdown. Yeah. What did you say to get through that mentally in that between that second and third round to get back into the fight?
I just felt like I had to turn it up. I was turning it up from the beginning, but it's like now I got to turn it up even more. And I knew I was down from that 8 count in the second round, so I just try to. Basically, I was playing catch up. I'm like, all right, I already know I'm down. I don't know. I don't remember how. I don't like to leave it up to the judges on the sense of if it's close or not. So my intention of that fight was to dominate every round from the beginning to the end. You know, I'm not a top ranked fighter. I'm going to his card, and I seen a lot of robberies in the past, and I just didn't want that to happen to me. So my objective was to beat him up so bad that they can't take it away from me. And with that, you know, I left myself exposed a couple times, and happened.
That fight was an amazing fight. Definite candidate for fight of the year. That was something special. Something special. I think as a viewer watching it was like, holy crap, this is a war. What was probably the most valuable lesson you learned out of that fight with the doorknob?
To be more patient. I don't have to, you know, dominate from every second, every round throughout the entire fight, even though I would like to. But just be more patient, you know, wait for the shots to come. Don't force things. Definitely not lean over my foot. Stay more centered, and a couple of things I've been working on, you know, from the fight. So it was a learning lesson.
From a mental standpoint, how did that affect you? Did you kind of get straight back into the gym and go, do you know what? There's a lesson to be learned here, or was it kind of demotivating? How did you take it?
It wasn't demotivating. I wasn't happy. I wasn't proud. I wasn't, you know, depressed or anything like that. But I was a little bit upset because I knew I could have done better. I didn't fight like the technician. I would say I kind of just dogged it out, but I wasn't a technician. I didn't fight my fight completely, my style. It was just more of a aggressive dog 'em out type of style. And it could have went a lot easier. I could have so much easier.
Yeah, what you think if you were more patient, composed yourself, you would have just outboxed him? How? In what way?
Yeah, I felt like I would have just outboxed him. It would have been easier than my last fight.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been easier than my last fight.
Yeah, we see that with boxing. That's a common theme, isn't it? Sometimes when fighters get too eager to maybe take their opponent out, they leave themselves exposed. I mean, we saw it with Teofimo Lopez. He was a great example against George Kambosos, and in my eyes, that was an upset. But yeah, it happens to the best of us, doesn't it?
Yeah. But like I said, like you was talking about earlier, you know, a lot of these guys are afraid to lose their O's. I'm not afraid to be in their best, and I'm not here to try to fight. You know, I can win. I want to be the best, and all the greatest of all time usually had an L in sometimes their career, but the fans still love them. And I just want to fight the best, put on great performances, and try to dominate.
I'm
Yeah,
glad. I'm glad you
definitely.
said that. It's a relief to hear a professional fighter say that in this era, that they understand. I feel like a lot of fighters, for some reason, are just afraid of losing that. Oh, but when push comes to shove, if you give your all, the fans, they're going to love you regardless. They just want to see you go out there and fight.
Yeah, I think that's so too. You know, depending on the style you have, and it sucks like if you're really hyped up and then you lose, because boxing is a crazy sport in the sense where you're undefeated and your pay goes up, you're getting more hype, and you won L, and the sport will chew you up, and spit you out just how you started sometimes. But sometimes the L with a good opponent could put you up, like Pickle Cruise. He lost to Davis, but he got a lot more out of that loss than other people would get from another loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely, because he gained a huge audience from that fight. He gave Davis a run for his money at times. So I completely agree with you. Would you say that boxing sometimes there's almost too much business involved? You know, it's not like an organization like the UFC where it's more about you're merited on a lot a lot to do with the way you fight. It's not necessarily just your personality, and if you can sell, put bums on seats, they kind of do that for you. Do you feel like boxing needs to be a bit more sport oriented rather than just business?
I think so. I think it's too business where it doesn't allow the best to be the best. Definitely too many belts, too many champions. It's an entertaining sport, but it could be a lot more entertaining because at the end of the day, entertaining gets boring when it's just all talk and not enough action. And sometimes I feel like that's with boxing, where there's a lot of people always talking on Twitter and he said this, she said this, but nothing's ever really going on.
So you're a boxing fan, from I take it from what you're saying. You're a fighter, but also a fan, or not as much?
I'm a fan. Like there's certain fighters that I like to watch. You know, I like when I watch boxing, I like to watch as a fan and then as a fighter. Like I look at it from two perspectives. Sometimes I just want to, I like to see the ring walk, like to just see the crowd. I just want to be a fan. And then there's times where I'm looking at it from a fighter perspective on analyzing it.
I see. So you're kind of so when you're watching the boxing, like say if you're watching someone you like, you're kind of analyzing what they're doing at all times, like throughout the 12 rounds, seeing if you could implement that into your game.
Not to implement to what I do in my game, but just see what people do different because everybody's a human being. Everybody's body's different. Nobody has to do something just like the other person and expect the same results. It's not going to happen that way. But it's just nice to know how people can do things differently and still achieve similar results, you know?
Yeah. No, definitely.
Trying to extend the Zoom meetings. I think it's going to cut off shortly here. So I'm like, why is this not?
Yeah, Jay, I'll let you have this half of the interview. I feel like you could ask some
yeah.
questions.
Well, yeah, I was trying to say, I'm thinking the Zoom thing might cut off in a quick second, which I'm hoping it doesn't. But you said you've got Jamel Herring coming up next. If you had a dream path to say maybe 2 or 3 more fights and you get straight into that title opportunity with say a Kambosos or a Devin Haney, whoever the winner of that event may be, what would be your dream path in the next 2 to 3 fights to get you straight to the championship? Say you get through Jamel Herring.
After Jamel Herring would be nice. Would be nice. Well, the titles are going to be all into one hand. And to get to that path, I would say Rollie's going to lose his next fight. I've been wanting to fight Rollie for a while. I thought that would have been a great fight for me.
Why Rollie of all people?
Oh, Rollie. Oh, that's funny.
Huh?
Have you met Rollie
because
before?
He had I one time, yeah, he fought in Foxwoods. I think it was during COVID. And I went to call him out because I thought he was going to win his fight, which he didn't, against the Dominican kid, Jackson Martinez.
Martinez.
And then I'm like, I ain't going to assume that was an embarrassing performance. You know, everybody was talking about it. So
you wanted to go that WBA route?
No, I want the WBC, all of them. So that's out the picture. I don't care about that anymore. I'm trying to think of somebody else. You know, it'd be a good one to get some more fans and on the business perspective. Pitbull Cruise. I'll take Pitbull Cruise. I'll fight Pitbull Cruise. Anybody who the fans want to see. Anybody that's ranked that's gonna get me to that world title opportunity.
I didn't want to ask because I saw in an interview you said, I don't care who I fight, I just want the best. So I was reluctant to ask if you would call anyone out, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't care if people always want to hear a name because it sounds better when you can quote somebody said this and it makes more of a demand. So I understand that perspective, but it don't matter who it is to me. You throw a name, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, I was more curious about your story, to be fair, because I feel like nowadays a lot of the outlets, they just want to get a clickbaity title like, oh, you know, Jamaine Ortiz calls out Rollie Romero or something like that. But I was more interested in your story. It sounds fascinating, and it was when you told it. But yeah, so that's a really good fight. You versus the winner of Gervonta Davis versus Rolando Romero, or Pickle Cruise. Do you not think that would be hard to make though, seeing as you've just signed that 3-fight deal and that you know the politics is kind of bullshit?
You're right. So, but you know what would be good? You know, Devin Haney got a 2-fight deal with Top Rank now. Diabella usually works close with Top Rank. Teofimo Lopez, he's moving on to 140 from what I hear, but I'll go to 140 and fight him.
Ooh.
Top Rank. Who else? There's a lot of people. Who else?
At Top Rank, lightweight to 140, you could fight Jose Ramirez. That would be a really good fight.
Yeah.
I think is it Michelle Rivera on Top Rank? I believe
no, he's on Showbox with All Heyman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Lomachenko, obviously. That would be amazing if you could get a high-profile fight like that. Because again, like you were saying, I mean, I'm sure you believe you can win, and we'll have to see. But whatever happens, I think that puts you in a brilliant position. So I guess, any of those names would be really interesting to see you against. So I feel like, you know, you're fighting on these different networks all the time, but this deal sounds really promising.
Yeah, we'll see. I like that wave too. What I was doing, just fighting on different networks, because it gives an opportunity for the different TV networks to see who Jamaine Ortiz is and what I can provide, and if you know, a bargaining gamble in the sense of which one wants to pick me up.
I see. That's very smart. I never thought of it like that, to be fair. But yeah. Well, I feel like I don't have that many more questions. I'm content with what I've asked you, to be fair. I'd like to thank you for taking the time, but I'm sure Jay has more questions.
No, actually, you pretty much answered all my questions. We got to your amateur career, where you are at now with your current career. You dropped the bombshell of the announcement with Jamel Herring. I was totally not expecting that. We got you going into the future. And I think I answered as many questions as I wanted to ask Mr. Ortiz. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us. I look forward to editing this video and getting it out there to get your name out there more on the TikTok platform. My man and I, he's got a good following on TikTok, also on Instagram. So we're going to try to do our part to get your name out there to as many fighters or as many boxing fans, and fighters in the game. But I can tell you, as someone that's been watching you for the last couple of years, I really like what I'm seeing. And I can see you up there with anybody else in the division if given the opportunity, Jamaine.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for taking all the time. Sorry for the cars, scenery. I know it doesn't look aesthetically as pleasing for the fans, but we can always do it again.
I'll follow you on Instagram so that I can see. Yeah, I'll get you on it. My account's Low Blow Leo, so I'll follow you there, and we'll definitely talk again, and hopefully towards the Jamel Herring fight we can get some really good Instagram and TikTok stuff. Get you out there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I gotta get on there. Sometimes when I'm in camp and just like locked and focused, especially on a big fight like this, I don't even go on social media. I don't really post, and that's what people want to see, the promoters and the fans. That's the way to keep yourself active, for people to know more and sell the fight a little bit more. But I'm just so locked and loaded, and I don't really put too much attention to the social media as much as I should.
Well, that's good. Stay locked in, stay focused, and keep winning those fights. And I look forward to seeing more good things from you, Jamaine, for sure.
Thank you so much.
Good luck in your future endeavors. And we can't wait to see you in the ring against Jamel Herring.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Take it easy, Jamel. Take it easy, Jamaine.
Peace.